Now that we back from our brief little break or whatever, I had to eat, but I'm going to learn a valuable lesson. I got to do better accountability because I know I'm not supposed to have like dairy. It is just like I did it to myself. I did it to myself. Okay. Hold on, let me get another deck. Have to get a deck. Okay. Child, I gotta get used to wearing long hair like this because I usually don't ever wear my hair this long. But it came out nice. Because duh, I did it. Also, for someone could be a Cancer. They could be born in 1989 or something like that. Child, they need to do better. They need to do better. They did not run the background check on someone. Let me see. Somebody didn't run a background check on someone. Someone born in 72. So someone Cancer or Capricorn. But if you have let's put it that way. So yeah. So for somebody, a background check wasn't done. Somebody keep doing it. Like somebody just know people be doing what it is that they want to do. So you allow people to do what it is that they want to do, so we can show you what they show them. Allow them to show you what they rather do, so you can do what it is that you have to do. Whew. I know better. It's like somebody like, oh, trying to do voodoo, weird shit, like tongue tied. Also, roll tide. Somebody's from Alabama. Something with Alabama. I know this ain't Jamal and Elder, whatever, because I was like, Olivia. These be motherfuckers that, I knew that they was into that shit like that. I mean, I don't care for it. I ain't ever been a person to like judge the situation. And if anyone that probably could have said something decent would have probably been like Elder. And then Jamal Love, his ass was in his fucking feelings because it was like, I don't even see you that way, bro. Because for you to be vindictive to do what it is that he did like that, it was just like, But it was like I had appreciated, that time when I first moved to Puerto Rico. I either went for vacation or when I moved there. And I remember I called Elder. He was like, "It seems like you in a F-boy situation." I was like, "You ain't have to call me out like that, but you're absolutely right. I got to do better." But then it's like, that's when I had to like regulate myself and be like, Sharita, in that whole situation, it was like I had to honor the fact that I was being toxic because it was like, Even he gave me every indication, like not to trust him, not to keep him around, not, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like, then the biggest part of it was, it's like, I'm in this man's place, I'm at his family's land, you know what I'm saying? Now, even though I already had my plan, all this other stuff, like I had my job, I was supposed to have the job already lined up, the job fell through due to the simple fact, me not knowing that, hey, in order for it to have fall through, and I'm not thinking about it because the only thing I could think about was, I'm out of this, out of this marriage, because I felt my divorce was going, everything was going great. Like today, everything is still gonna go great regardless. Like I'm still happy. I'll have my good days, I'll have my rough days, but the rough days is only coming in because it's like I'm accustomed to being around my kids. And then imagine going to just being around 7 kids, then you being down to 6 kids, then you were just down to 2 of your kids, and then now you down to none of your kids. So imagine, like, I'm accustomed to cooking for everybody, and now it's like I'm cooking so much, and it's like, sure, everyone's not here no more. And then it's like, it's just you. But then it's like, with it just being you, I'm having to self-reflect on the situation, Sharita. It's always been you by yourself. Everything that I do literally by myself. I still even remember when I came back from deployment, my mom had my kids. And when she had them, I was like, I had planned, like, okay, I'm going to take, a 60-day recovery, regroup myself, and then I'll go pick up the kids because I need to recalibrate myself. Because you got to understand, like, a mature and a focused adult would say, we coming from a land where we having to carry a weapon all day. You're responsible for that weapon, because friendly fire can happen, anything can happen. We getting mortared, we're getting bombed, everything. So me having to recalibrate my mind, like, kids were going to be coming home, and the last thing you want to wake up to, like, where my fucking gun at? And then it's like, it's the kids there, and it's some stupid shit happened. And I was like thinking to myself, like, I can breathe. But as soon as Sheila knew that I had hit ground, mind you, she brought the kids and everything, she took them back with her. And she pulled some hateful ass shit because I wasn't giving her no money. But the only thing that had changed in my situation was, at that time, I wasn't talking to Marcus. Marcus was just coming around at that time. And then that's when I was finding out I was pregnant with baby Marcus. And when she figured it out, all that shit went left. Anytime that a person, like if I made new friendships, if I had a new boyfriend, Sheila would flip her shit because the focus is no longer on her. The money was no longer on her. But instead of her being like an adult or mom, something she never had been, it was just like, what part are you not getting, that I need to regroup myself from coming home from a foreign land that I probably wouldn't even went on my own, to make sure that I can be a healthy, proper parent to my kids, because I was in Fort Campbell by myself, and get myself situated. Come get your goddamn kids. When she called me like that, I was like, wow, that's crazy. When she did it again, when it was time for Marcus to go into the hospital when he got hurt, I called Carla versus calling Sheila. Sheila lost her shit. How the fuck you gonna call Carla before me? I'm your mom. Da-da-da. I'm like, and I was everything in the book but my name. Okay, are you coming? No, that's what the fuck you get. That's why your fucking kid almost died. And I'm like, you're doing the most. And then on top of that, where she was feeling like she can play into the situation, she played it to her benefit of not seeing, like, damn, my child is in emotional distress. I was still in college. Like, I was doing really good until that incident happened. September 27, 2012. Oh my God. And then it was just like, over the last like 2 to 3 weeks, I was just like reflecting on everything. And it was just like today, like when I woke up, and even though I had like the craziest dream, and it was like, I know it's happening in real life, I was just sitting there like, Sharita, regardless of what fucking is going on, look how fucking far you came. Every person that was ever sent in your path and in your way was literally and figuratively and physically looking to break you mentally, emotionally, psychologically. Like they were looking to break you, girl. And I'm just sitting here like, God damn, you still standing 2 feet, 10 toes on your own. Like this shit, like if I was like sitting there, like I literally over the night, because I didn't go to sleep until like 6 o'clock this morning. And as I sat there, now I was like, well, why, God? Why is it that you need me to just stay like this? And it was like, I need to sleep. My body is tired. My mind is tired. But it was like my soul, my spirit just couldn't rest. And it was just like, I just want you to pay attention. And as I'm laying there, and I was like doom scroll, but the doom scrolling wasn't doing much, but I wasn't really paying attention to what I was looking at. But as I'm like zoning out, and you can zoom, doom scroll and zone out. And when you do that, and I'm very notorious of doing that, I would dissociate from anything. I could be like with a crowd of fucking people, and they'll be like, "Girl, you listening?" I sure the fuck wasn't. But what you said, like, that's what most people respect, because I'm gonna tell you if I was listening or not. But as I was sitting there, when I say epiphany after epiphany after epiphany was just hitting me, it was just like, well, Sharita, this is how it was. Like, I literally had to compare what was going on right now. Even still currently, they're still doing fuck shit. But compare it to like how it was when I was a kid. And I was like, God damn, every move that these people make, even the political people, even the people doing this shit on, I was like, the only difference is now we have electronic devices to do it on. As before, they used to have to go do it. You remember we had to have the beepers and the pagers, and then the cell phones only did so much functioning. I was just sitting there like, well, damn, they ain't really doing nothing new I ain't already seen, because it's like, I'm going to say it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because how deep the corruption can go. You would feel that the people that you've been around to do this shit all your life, you wouldn't ever think or feel that they would do it to you. So whenever like they were presenting certain people, it's like, damn, all you doing is presenting to me the behaviors, the patterns, and the thing of it is they're consistent. There was no inconsistency in the behavior of how they was doing it. And it was like, well, allow them to still feel like they're getting away with it. Because, of course, like I said, that you'll have people to feel as if you don't understand. But the only thing different is between a person in poverty and a person who got money is that we just don't, the people in poverty don't have the words to what is exactly happening. So when you be feeling like, damn, everything that a person in the hood would think is normal shit. People, what was the thing for Paid in Full? Niggas get shot every day, B. In the hood, it's a normal thing. So you'll hear boom, boom, boom. You'd be like, damn, somebody got shot, right? But a rich person, oh my gosh, what was that? And they gonna go look, they gonna walk their ass into a crime scene and get their ass shot, right? But a person, little pook and tick and all them, while we over here chilling, like, hey, motherfucker, we finna mind our business. Unless it's like something where you know it's like family, or unless you know it's somebody that was an innocent bystander. That's most of the time in the hood where you see people come together, come in unity and stand up. But outside of that, when they start pulling this shit, like, I was blessed. Like I said, it was like, it's a blessing and a curse, but I was blessed to be around. My first experience was with the Colombians, Mexicans, Venezuelans and shit. I didn't have that experience with like, well, actually, no, we also had Puerto Ricans, but we didn't have like the Dominicans around us. We had a few Panamanians and stuff like that. The Panamanians kind of threw us off because they would speak Spanish, but they would speak patois. So to us, we was thinking like, is this nigga Jamaican? Like, you know what I'm saying? On the West Coast, we were like, is this nigga Jamaican or something? But it was like, oh, they from Panama. It's Central America. They Latin and stuff like that. So me growing up to see how the drug game is ran, how the money laundering game is ran, how prostitution, trafficking, all that shit, who they use with mayors, Congress, senators, doctors, police. I seen all of that growing up. I seen it. So it was like, well, damn, well, Sharita, just pay attention to, how they moving. I mean, even down to the fact of paying attention to, like, say if it's like, when it came to the female, mercenary crews, because there is all female crews where they drop bodies. Then you got the man crews. But the most vicious ones, you're going to find them out of California. You'll either find them out in Cali, they'll chill out in like Washington, Oregon, or Nevada. Now, if they're really trying to stay real low key, you'll find them in like Montana, Wyoming, or some Idaho, Iowa shit. People be like, black people don't live there. Exactly. Certain black people don't live there, but the motherfuckers that had, serial unaliving careers, oh yeah, they over there. And sometimes they had smart motherfuckers that just You know what I'm saying? When you getting told so much in the hood, like you ain't gonna be nothing else other than what it is of being a product of your environment, which is a killer. Some of them were smart enough that they knew about computers, but they dropped out around like 11th grade or some shit like that. Because guess what? They didn't have that support. They didn't have them teachers to be like, hey, you can do better. You can still, you can go to college. You can do this, right? Like the same thing for me. It's like it's so many talents within myself that I see, but it's like me now. If I knew what I knew now, then shit. Coming out of high school, I would have been one paid motherfucker right now. You would have been like, damn, we looking at shit. She outdid Oprah. I just ain't gonna have no damn TV production, but goddamn, I would have been able to outdo Oprah on my motherfucking own because it was like they try to downplay my looks and stuff like that because guess what? The looks was the reason why they would get paid off me. So me not knowing like, hey, Sharita, that's trafficking. I didn't know that. All I knew is Sharita, just dress up and look cute. Do what I tell you to fucking do. I'm gonna get your ass beat for today. So it's just like eventually you start becoming numb to it because what was my normal would be somebody like, how the fuck you ain't know no better? Well, you're not gonna know any better if no one is teaching you any better, if no one's supporting you. When you have more people trying to talk about what it is that you do, how you talk, how you move, how you dress, are you the one coming in to say, hey, your style of dressing is nothing wrong with it, but however, you know what I'm saying? But then it's like you get into that lifestyle where you get people trying to force you. Like when the dude was like, oh, well, I like my women like this. Well, that's how you like your women, and that's not how I am. I'm always going to be a free thinker. I'm going to speak my mind. And if I'm not that type of woman for you, go on to the next person. You know what I'm saying? So emotional intelligence was something that I knew I needed to have. But then at the same time, I had to also remember I grew up around women that was emotionally manipulating people, or they just knew like shit, being cute would get you paid. Or if it was certain people like shit, when it came to Sheila, everybody be like, oh, I love your mama, she cool as fuck. No motherfucker, she just gonna put you onto the game if it depending on what type of money you trying to get and how you trying to get it. And shit, if she know that she can benefit from your ass, of course it's gonna be a mental fucking emotional thing for her. Like, oh shit, they stupid enough to go with it. Shit, let me see if I can get some money up off of their ass too. Let me see if they can go ahead and do the dirt for me so I ain't got to get my hands dirty. So most of the time, if she knew that she could manipulate a man to do something against me, shit, she knew it was a fucking win. Oh, well, she ain't going to give me the money no more? All right, this is how, like, she don't mean me no well, never have. Like, she was never a person to be like, I love you, let me give you a hug, or any of that stuff. So it was just like, me being accustomed to not getting a hug, a man doing it didn't mean shit to me. So that her thing was whenever I dated men and I had noticed the pattern, like I didn't wake up to the pattern until the last dude did it. And it was like, oh, okay, so one path is to deprive intercourse. Okay. The next one was deprived of intimacy, quality time, compliments. Like, hey, you look nice, you look pretty. Instead of doing that, they'll do the opposite. Why you got to wear your hair like that? Why you got to dress like that? Why you have to? I'm like, damn, that's a whole bunch of reverse psychology because I feel like I look pretty damn pretty. And then it was like, okay, well, then I had to take accountability. Like, Sharita, you took down your hair, all that fucking hard work you did, and your hair was looking fucking nice because this person didn't want it to look nice. And I felt to myself, and I knew that I was doing something against my own self. You know what I'm saying? When it was like, shit, you just took down your hair and it looked good, but it made him or, the other people feel insecure. And he didn't want you to have all that attention because James would do it, but James will only do it because it'd be like, well, how you did that? And then I noticed, like, if we got into an argument, he'll be calling like his mama and shit. And I'm like, that's some weird shit. Been like, yeah, she didn't have to do that. And then it would come to a point where he'll always want to dress me up. Oh, you should probably wear this because your booty look like this. And it's like, all right, that's a little cringe, a man. It's like, but for me, I'm an open mind and a free thinker. So it was just like, well, maybe, what I'm saying? Maybe it's just an aspiration, maybe he wanted to, like my way of thinking was like, maybe he want to be in the fashion industry. Maybe he into fashion or something like that. And which I was like, I don't mind because I'm the type of person, I'm going to support the dream. I'm gonna support the dream. It's not to, oh, you gay, you this and that. But then it was like, but that's not how a mother's supposed to be. Well, bro, considering your mom is not a pure example as a fucking mother, bro, how is it that you're going to sit here and try to tell me and complain about my mothering skills, and I'm the only one making sure that they're getting bathed and they brushing their teeth and, their hair getting combed and all this other stuff. And then all this other stuff was just like weird. And it was just like, once I woke up to it, it was just like, bro. And then when the last dude did it, it was just like, yeah, you were definitely coached to do this shit. Because it was like, you could tell when a person intentionally wants to do something and then they don't really want to do it. It's just like, well, I'm just doing it just to see if it would work. You can tell when you have those different type of people, like, I'm just trying to see if it works. I'm just trying to see if, what they saying is what it is that they say that you're going to do. And then it was also like, the biggest part of it was, she, I remember Regina said some shit and she thought I wasn't listening. They thought I was asleep. And I think that was probably at the time when whatever he had put in my drink or my food had wore off. And I had realized, she was like, well, why is she dressing like this, and why is she doing this, and you should try to take her for her money and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, what? She ain't, she probably just trying to stay with you because you told her about your uncles and stuff. I think it was around after I had either baby James or when I was about to have Azura, 2016, 2017. And that was around the time his grandma had passed away, but she had been trying to get, to come see us and see the kids for a long time. And then I was like trying to figure out like why his mom would be like, no, wait, because her health or whatever. But she was really adamant about she wanted to come. But then with her wanting to come, it was like Regina was like, no, she too old, and I'm just like, why are you making every excuse for a woman? If she's saying she want to come, she can come. And I didn't mind on paying for her flight to come, because I was like, shit, to me it was just like, it's an extra hand. Two, the kids would finally get to meet the other side of their family, all this other stuff. And Regina was like, nah. And then James, like, whenever his mama stands, and it's like, oh, okay. So I was just like, all right, whatever. Then she ended up passing or whatever. And that's when he was like, yeah, I was trying to talk to my uncle about getting into the studio to do some music or whatever. And I was like, in the studio. So it was like, at that point, I knew, I was like, oh, so your family comes from money type shit. But I wasn't a type of person that asked him for money, but then say we got into a bind or something, like needing to pay a bill. But Sharita, you need to figure out what it is. And it's like, bro, you can't call your family to help us out to, pay a bill or something like that. So here I was always having to figure out how to do that. And it was just like, you know what? At a point in my life, I figured out like, it's no more allowing a person to be like, oh, I want to be together. Like, no, motherfucker, you got to show and prove, because I ain't ever been a person to be a gold digger. No, nothing like that. I ain't ever asked no man to do nothing for me. If a man did something for me, it was because he wanted to do it, or he wanted to buy it, or whatever the case may be. And then I noticed, like, when the last dude do it was like, you probably just want money from me. And it was like how he was saying it, it allowed me to know. I was like, who is telling you some dumb shit like this? And who are you so stupid to listen to people to even tell you some nonsense? And it was like every time that it was just like he'll go against anything that I was telling him, like intentionally. And I was like, damn, James used to do this, my folks used to do this. So I was like, you're being coached to do this. So I would literally ask him, are you working with these folks? And that was the only thing. And it was like he'll try to avoid it like the fucking plague. And I'll be like, bro. Like when I was putting the pieces together, and I was like, I'm not for to try to play the mind game. I just only had literally wanted to hear the fucking truth from him. Like, and then it was just like the lack of him not telling me that was like, Sharita, just give yourself closure, because he's telling you in every which way that he worked with your family. He been getting paid from your family. And then him, like the rest of the motherfuckers, probably 10 times out of 10, probably got a good little chunk of change or some decent change off this shit to say either one, steal my identity, do something with my social security, do something to steal from me or the kids, or cause harm to one of the fucking kids, or at least could he be able to gather people to help do the fucking crime? And then on top of that, if he did know people that would help take me out type shit. And it was like everything that he did was just like, bro, I'm literally like over this shit. And then it's like, yo, baby daddies. And it was like the fact that you bringing up motherfucking baby daddies and the fact that you moving how these motherfuckers did, it had allowed me to know exactly who put his ass to it. So it was just like, damn. And then like he called himself getting mad. You probably just trying to get this off of me. And it's like, motherfucker, it ain't really shit you doing for me, because I wasn't growing mentally, emotionally. Like I was literally watching myself fucking like crash. And it's like, Sharita, you here you are again looking to uplift every fucking body while you sitting here crashing and burning. Like where I got real pissed off at Tamisha was like, bruh, I'm sitting here like I'm going through fucking hell. I'm calling you thinking I'm going to be the person to be like, hey, you know what, Sharita, once you get say side, try to make it your business to come. And it was just like everything I needed from this person. It was like, and I remember she hit me with that one day where it's like, oh yeah, you know, I got my job. She finally got the government job she had wanted or whatever. And she hit me with, I need me a pick me up. Not remembering like I'm still sleeping out in a fucking car. I'm still getting stalked and shit like that. But you need to fucking pick me up. Versus, hey, let me call the phone and check on you. She really like, are you good mentally? Are you good emotionally? And at that point, I just knew she really just didn't give a fuck at that point. So I was just like, you know what? Friendships is down the drain. Veronica, I had figured her out around what, 2023. When she called, like, yeah, so what happens? She was so adamant about being quiet and just listening to what was going down. So I'm just like, fuck it, let me just ask her for the money, because I know she wasn't going to deny me the fucking money, because she had to fucking think of ever since she had went to TSU, from when she was in college from Memphis all the way till she graduated from that PhD from Nova out in Miami. I was like, bro, as much fucking money she will call me, I'm going through shit, going through about, hey, you know, I just cashed after you some money, or I just sent you some Zelly or whatever the fuck app we was using at that time to make sure she had money to eat. Mind you, she had a whole fucking husband. But shit, to me, it was like, this is supposed to be my friend or whatever. But then you find out the whole time that bitch ain't your friend. That was your whole fucking enemy the whole time. That kind of stuff will crush you. But I was like, when I say 6 o'clock, I did not go to sleep until 6 o'clock this morning. I was like, God, listen, I learned my lesson. Because doing a friendship, I'm cool off of that. Doing another marriage, I ain't got it in me. I ain't even got another fucking relate. I don't have it in me. I just don't. I really don't. Because it's like, when I told the dude, I literally told him straight up to his face, you my last hope. And you're my last go at wanting to ever try this love shit. If it just don't work, it's just not meant for me. And I was already like that at my last wit when I was giving James a chance. But with James, he had already gave me you know, like he lazy. He don't want to work. He wanted to be the woman. But when it came to that last dude, that was like my last go. Like, that was like, like God. Like I literally had prayed about that. I was like, God, this is my last go, because this love shit, it can get on the back burner, because it's like all the opportunities, all the time that I could have put in on focusing on business, everything that I could have focused on, because everything that I was doing at that point, because I'm having to reflect every day, like, I don't want my kids to have to see that. I'm tired of my fucking kids having to see mommy cry because mommy just doing her best. And then when you doing your fucking best, and it's like, and you already feeling like you drowning, and you already know like there's no one coming to rescue. You got to be your own rescue. That grind hits different. And when I stayed up to 6 o'clock this morning, I'm like, Sharita, that grind hits different. It's like eventually the tears will stop. But I was like, baby, the tears is because you working through it. The tears is because you did this on your own. No one can ever take credit for how fucking far you came. No one. You worked on the beauty on the inside because it was already on you. I had people not liking me because it's like, oh, look at her body. She think if I had her body, like I've always grown up hearing people, well, if I had her body, I would do this. And it's like, how could you just project on yourself about what you would do with my body when you do not know what I had to suffer through with this body? It used to be moments where I would regret even just having a nice body. There will be times where I literally will make myself gain fucking weight because I wanted people to stop just trying to desire my fucking body because how it looked. That shit gets annoying. And it's like, Y'all fucking females go out here or go out your way to get people to do like look at your body, and then you start crying and you feeling some type of way when you getting raped and shit. And it's like, I'm not able to fucking feel bad for you. You wanted too much fucking attention. I've been trying to fight the attention to go the fuck away. You think I care about a man? Look at my way, sir. You got a better chance of looking up there and trying to pray for God to come visit you in the physical flesh than for me to sit there to be worried about, are you interested? Do you like me? Do you want my number? No. If I approach and you talking, I'm gonna ask you straight up. But you don't give me an answer or reply, I'm gonna keep fucking going. It never happened. It was the same thing when I met the dude. It was like, to me, low key, it was like I felt like it was on repeat. But then it was like at the same time, it felt like, to me, it was just like, this is like love at first sight. But then it was like at the same time, he already had gave me the vibes of like, I'm not interested, but I am interested. But then it was like, this is a paid fucking investment. But then, once I realized that, I want to say right before baby James passed on, which allowed him to do the trauma bond, was for me to realize, like, this motherfucker ain't for you, Shrita. He ain't for you. He ain't for you. But then it was like at the same time, like I said, I had to acknowledge, like, damn, Shorty, you toxic, because it was fucked up of me, even though I needed to escape. And it was like, where I was in the wrong was I kept him around because it was like, well, shit, he from Puerto Rico. I wanted to go to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was my dream since I was a fucking kid, since I was in high school. And I was like, one day I'm going to go to Puerto Rico. One day I'm going to live in Puerto Rico. Bitch, I did it. I fucking did it. However, a fucked up situation came out of it. However, I did that shit. And it was like, I was like, damn, Shrita, you did use him, but then you didn't. Because it was like at the same time, he was using you the whole time. He was really trying to take your motherfucking life. But you got to Puerto Rico, though. You got to put your feet in that sand. You got to hit them beat. Like, I literally, during that fucking time of all that fucking harassment and shit, I literally got to see the whole island. Like, out of the fucked up situation that it was. Because people be like, you ever go back to Puerto Rico? Hell fuck no. After all that fucking hell they went through, unless they could go ahead and reassure me, hey, anywhere you go on this island, you gonna have fucking security. Unless I could be assured of that shit. I won't be visiting Puerto Rico. Gonna be the last motherfucking place for me to visit unless it's something for me to have to really go there to do something. And again, I would literally need fucking security. But it was like, even though it was like a shitty time, the blessing out of it was I got to fulfill a fucking dream. I came back, in 2024? I went in 2022 and I came back in 2024. Damn near almost 2 years. And I was like, Shorty, you lived your dream. How many people can say that shit? I lived my dream. Not many. And I was like, I did that shit. It was a fucked up situation, which I thought it would have been like, hey, he will be able to, I fucked up because I was stupid to think that, hey, maybe if you just wait and he keep doing this, he gonna change his way. Sharita, he showed you he was not ever gonna change his way. He is who he is. And that's just what it's gonna be. And once I came to that full acceptance, and it was just like, it was like, it hurt. It was hurting. Like, I'm like, Shruti, he can't hurt your feelings when you hurting your own feelings. It's like, because I have not ever been a fucking female. One thing, I'm not to lie on my goddamn uterus, okay? Who the hell want to be pregnant in the fucking summer? You got to be stupid. You got to be stupid, okay? You get pregnant during summer, and then you be okay. And then it's like, for me to figure out that I was, and it was like, they really had this man convinced that I wasn't. And then once he get the real truth, it was like, she really was. And it was like, damn, but at the same time for you to know. And when I would confront him and he would just have this look on his face. And then it was like, when I would tell him how I knew he knew the truth, he was like, well, shit, it was for the best interest anyway. That right there was to allow me to know he knew. And I was just like, so why would you even say that I was lying? That was fucked up. Like, and he was thinking it was like more hurting my feelings. Like, no, bro, all you're doing is like building fucking rage where I really want to fucking rip your head off. And what stories you really hearing, and you really trying to figure out, well, I'm just trying to see if what they talking about. They said she really could be a demon. Then it's like, I don't even want to test that shit no more. I don't even want to play with it no more. I don't want to play with that type of demon. Then it's like, bruh. I've seen too much. I've been through too much, the last thing I don't ever want anyone to ever be is the person of anger of a situation that wasn't even fucking meant for them. And that's the reason why I just sit there and it's like, sure, you gotta find the fucking happiness. And any time that you are in the midst of hell, you must find fucking happiness. Because if not, you will literally be walking around like a fucking walking time bomb. I swear to you, you are literally a walking time bomb when you're not able to find that happiness in the midst of whatever the hell is going on. And for me personally, I'm going to find joy. I'm sorry. I got to. Because other than that, would you hurt my feelings? You can have your moments. But however, by all means, do not ever fucking sit and dwell on some shit, on some fucked up shit that a person genuinely meant to do. They genuinely fucking meant to do that. And especially when a person didn't mean to do that, they're going to come back and apologize. They will. But a person who meant to do that shit, oh, they're going to play games. They're going to harass you. They're going to stalk you. They're going to attempt to bully. Listen, they're going to attempt to bully you until they really run into the real motherfucking bully. And that's why they keep a distance. That's why they want to be indirect. That's why they want to play spiritual. They want to do hoodoo and voodoo because they know that's coward shit. Because on that real shit, they know if they got to face you face to face, hey, I might not make it out of this shit. They know for a fact we not making it out of this shit. We gonna be in the coffin fucking around and finding out whenever we choose to go ahead and fuck with a person that already been through way fucking much more than what we can even account for. Because guess what? We've been the main fucking corporates of going ahead and causing them any type of mishap, pain, stalking, harassment, abuse, just weird shit. We've been the main course of it. So any one person that's even trying to stay behind enemy lines, you know fucking better than to bring that motherfucking shit to the person, because at that point, regardless, the calmer the person is, the worse the fucking response or that reaction could possibly be. And most people fucking learn from certain situations. It's like, God damn, this type of shit that doing this shit, if that person get mad enough and it's a one person team, and that person outweigh me some shit like that. Like, it'd be some times where I realize that I would hit fucking 200 pounds. And I'd be like, God damn, bitch, white. And then it'll be a man there try to approach me and be on some dumb shit. And they'd be like, yeah, I'm trying to get my... It's like, oh, really? These motherfuckers be about $150, about 180. It's like, motherfucker, I could take your ass down and just put your ass in one thigh lock and your neck is mine. It's like we could play this shit all day. That's why it's like I don't be minding when I want to, gain weight and shit like that, because it's like sometimes it's like the only thing is for me to do is just simple strength training. I could probably be at my highest weight, but some strength training, I need you to come try that, little Brody, because you still struggling to break even to fucking 200 pounds. And me, I got that shit on a motherfucking easy. They be like, she's so small and she's so little, right? Come on, I like to wrestle and tussle. And I grew up doing that shit with motherfuckers, Bloods, Crips, GDs, you fucking name it. I grew up just doing that shit all day for a fucking living. And it's like, it's not nothing to fucking brag about, but you got to understand when a person have to grow up like that. And it's most of the time that always in my situation has been, she don't look like that. She don't look like she been through none of that shit. And then by all means, they end up getting approaching. And like my biggest test that I would do for any fucking body, I let them meet Sheila. And depending on what's their response to her, oh, she seemed cool as fuck. I already know they fit to fall for the trap. I already know they're going to fall for the okie doke. It will be shit where I'll test, especially men, I'll test them, be like, yeah, shorty got a fat ass. Yeah. Already not knowing that I'm making their ass fall for the good old okie doke. I'm giving you my fucking weaklings. To them, they're weak to me already. So me knowing that they're going to fall for them is already allowing me to know, like, yeah, you're not for me. You're not for me. And so it's just like, whenever I can figure out like how they move around, what type of friends they keep around them. And then it's like, pay attention to the shorties that they try to bag and shit like that. Most of the time they're looking at the bros anyway. And you just pay attention like, oh, he do barbering. Oh, he do tattooing. Okay, his mama cook. Oh, they bake cakes. Okay, that allowed me to know what type of environment that I'm gonna be in and what type of people I might have to deal with. And then, excuse me, then you just pay attention to the small details. Okay, if they family is just more into like street racing and shit like that, then you already know they into drugs and trafficking and kids and shit like that. Then if it's like you paying attention to like if they come from like the burbs, but they was always around their hood motherfuckers, you know they got lawyers and doctors and shit in their pockets. So, but then it's like other people don't ever really pay attention, to it be minor fucking details that if you ever fucking pay attention to, you can pay attention, you'll know more or less what's happening around you. And for me being so desperate that I really just wanted to get away, because it's like I lost my son, but it was like the part that I was like struggling to process was this really an accident, and something in my soul was telling me like, sure, this shit wasn't no fucking accident. And then it was just like, all right, move around. But the only dictation was the person who's around you, because it's usually the person closest to you. So it's like what they used to say, keep your enemies close, right? I kept that motherfucker real close, sleeping with the enemy, even though I was at the threat edge. This motherfucker could roll over that night where I'm falling asleep, and I could sometimes fall into a deep sleep. And I remember it was one night where I knew I had to go ahead and recalibrate myself. And he was like, why would you listen to that? He started listening to that. So I knew he was trying to get up off of that shit, but I also knew he knew how to do hypnosis. So I was just really just paying attention to his shit. Then it was like, Sharita, you know what? You ain't really paying attention to us. And I was like, look at his tattoo. And the tattoo told me everything. I was like, this nigga here, like, you trying to get into the fucking squad. Oh, like this motherfucker trying to get into a squad. And then it was like, pay attention to his folks. I was like, oh, he a Mason? I was like, Leah Mason? Like, and right there, all that shit right there. But then it also made me to go ahead and say, Shree, sit back. It ain't just only him. I remember like Tyus, Brittany, she was pulling some shit. And then Erica Aponte, she came through. That shit stuck out. I was like, Shrita, ain't no fucking way. And then as everybody was trying to resurface, hey girl, and I was like, yeah. And then Jasana Robinson, her mama, they were like black Israel, black Jews or some shit like that. Then she started resurfacing, but I was like, why the fuck would you bring Jasana? Jasana's still trying to recover from that fucking abusive ass relationship. Your mama running the church, but then shit, I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, your mama's still dealing with her own fucking traumas and didn't have the audacity talking about, oh, Yahweh and in the church and shit like that. That's when Sheila knew she could take advantage of it and connect her with Johnny and them, and then to the church out in Chicago and New Jersey. So that was like already the New Jersey folks. So it was like, should we just pay attention to anything coming out of there? Especially, I was like, with him, he liked to mess with these little bass heads, these pill poppers and shit like that. Pay attention to the surroundings. And then when, you can start paying attention to like what type of gay people are around you. You got paid gay people, and then you got the gay people still struggling on the come up. Dumb motherfuckers that's still struggling on the come up and still fucking for a buck, do something strange for a little bits of change, and still trying to get their little surgery and want to become women. Them be the motherfuckers you gotta watch. Them be the gay motherfuckers you really gotta fucking watch. You have to watch them. And it's like I said, I ain't ever had no problem. Like, I respect the gay men that know, hey, I'm a man, I'm gonna still dress up, wear my shit, whatever, still smelling good, looking good and shit like that. But like, they gonna tell you, like, you barking up the wrong tree, shouty. You know what I'm saying? Like, I respect them type of men versus a man that's gonna sit there and be like, oh, girl, you look good. And they's too busy trying to scope about what kind of man you got, how to get in your pockets, to see what you got going on in your home, what type of car and shit like that. And when I started paying attention to that shit, it was like, all right, this shit gets a little bit more elaborate than just this. Now, mind you, I had already knew clinical research was happening when Veronica had came back around. I had Sarai 2012, 2013. She was like, yeah, I'm out here working in Chattanooga. I was still in Fort Campbell. And she was like, yeah, they have me at this school working in Chattanooga. Anybody know if you black and you going to Chattanooga, ain't being of a color of anything other than a white motherfucker be in Chattanooga. Trust and believe you going to be they token black person or they token Spanish person or whatever. And when she hit me with like, yeah, we're trying to do a course of clinical research and stuff like that, that's when I knew something was up. And then she will always bring up like, yeah, would I ever, like, she'll come get a reading. She'll be like, would I ever be able to pay off my student loans and stuff like that? That was my key and clue. And then it was like, she started doing some weird shit that started allowing me to know, like, oh, you low key be dyking and shit. Like, you into women. Like, I ain't you in. I mean, even if I was into women, you're not my type. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was doing the girls, it was you had to be a femme. But I was like, you wouldn't even be my type. You know what I mean? And it was just like, it was always like, oh, let's buy her a new purse. And it was not ever me doing anything. I'm talking about they bought me Michael Kors, Dooney and Burke, Coach bags, what's them new bags, the Birkin bags and shit like that. But like, why are you buying me this stuff? And it's like, well, you know, Sharita, I'm not an expensive type of woman. Like, if anything, I have one selected store, Coach. That's it. I mean, if it's something that really have to catch my attention in another store, then I'm gonna get it on my own. I'm not going to ask a man. Like, I have not. Me growing up seeing the women just take advantage of men, I didn't like that. I don't feel that's fair to a man at all. At all. I don't even feel it's fair for a woman to even pursue a man when you don't have your shit in order. Because right now, I'll be the first one to tell him, like, sir, I know you're interested in whatever, but I'm still struggling. I'm still trying to get my money in order. I'm still just, making sure I'm just getting to the place where I can make sure everything is paid. But I still need to get a car. I still want to finish up my school, and it's not done. And I'm struggling to fight to just get back in fucking college. I have no time, let alone any energy to be focused on, when is somebody gonna come in so I ain't gotta worry about these bills? Ma'am, sir, if they are fucking them. Until I'm able to make sure that my shit is good, so God forbid, whenever that person do come in, I want my shit to be good. I don't need him to ever fucking feel like I gotta be codependent on, well, when he does come in, he taking over. When he do come in, he knows that even if he decides to take over the bills, he still knows that if he decides to walk out of that fucking door, I can still handle my bills. I can still handle my own. Not that when he walks out of the door, oh my gosh, if this man leaves me, I'm not going to be able to handle where I live or my car. Like, it's fucking bitches that be feeling like, oh, the world revolves around the man. Like, no, no. Because if that man comes in and he start doing that, spoiling you, taking care of all the bills, you get all fucking comfortable and all this shit. But then he gets ready to say, look, I'm tired of this. I was hoping that maybe the investment, some of these women gain weight, don't want to take care of the home. Like, they forget everything that they did before this man came in. And then when he came in, they forget about all the dreams, the goals, the ambitions that they had of their own, that they're so consumed about. He's giving this, my man is my man. And it's like, your man is everybody fucking man. He just fucks you on the weekend. You're not seeing that because he's only seeing the investment of, shit, I throw her some money, she's going to shut the fuck up, right? But then when you get into real life situations, that man say, look, I'm tired of this. I feel like I want to go to Kiki up the street, right? He leaves. You accustomed to this luxury lifestyle, but you didn't take any chance or opportunity to make sure that the ends you had before he came in, now you're not able to sustain anything that he got you comfortable to. Now he done got you the Benz, he done got you the house and the condo, and your rent is now $3,100 fucking dollars. But you so dependent on him doing it that all your fucking money that you did or would get, you done spend it the fuck up. So now you don't even know how much or budgeting because you didn't have a budget. He was there, right? Versus before this motherfucker get here, this type of house is, I'm not for to live above my motherfucking means, regardless of what he getting. Oh, you got that for us? Shit, now I know we finna put this on paper. I need that on paper, cause when you walk out of this door, I'm not fit to be left in the situation where I'm suffering. And God forbid you start bringing in kids. Now you're really in a fucked up situation. Whether you got 1 to 3, 10, it don't fucking matter. Now you really in a fucking bind. Now you really fucked up. Cause say he ended up leaving you and going for Kiki, he was giving you the luxury. He leave to go to the next person up the street or leave you for a fucking man. Now, oh my gosh, were you taking the time to go ahead and invest in therapy? Nah. You weren't worried about that. You was too concerned about trips to Miami and bottomless mimosas and going to fucking Bora Bora and getting all your plastic surgery. But he ain't there no more. You don't got that luxury of that money no more. So what was it? Well, I did have my business going, but you slowed down on that business because he came in and he was taking care of everything. Now what? That's why I'm a firm believer. My money ain't set. Everything that I need ain't set before he come in. And the one thing that I did, respect for one female for a little bit, it was like she had a property that she still had. She still had her own bank account. She was making sure that when her and the new man moved in together, she still had a property of her own. Like, okay, well, I'll give up my home. She has a deed to the home, so she rents the other place out for that passive income. So it all hell's break through. She can go ahead and have enough fucking money that if she did need an apartment to go ahead and wait till somebody's lease is up, she got her own shit. Her cars is paid for. So at least he moving around talking about, I'm gonna take the shit. I got a car over here. Oh, well, I'm gonna take away this business. Well, shit, I got a few degrees to go ahead and go get my hustle on. And it's some people that be so quick to, what do you have other than you running your mouth? What do you have other than looking cute? Because everybody ain't really worried about it. Is you cute? Because what do you do if you run into a dude that's like, yeah, you cool, you look like an investment, but then he realized like, damn, you ain't got no brain, ain't no creativity, shit. I can give you 3 bands right now, and you gonna waste the whole 3 bands versus shit. Let a man give me fucking 3,000 or 30 fucking thousand extra a month. Oh shit, let me go ahead and triple this real quick. Oh babe, what you got going on? Hey, nothing, just making sure that everything you giving me every fucking month is getting flipped. He gave me 30, I came back around and made $1 million. Oh shit, that's an investment. Versus, oh, I'm being cute, but I'm fit to go on OnlyFans because I'm struggling. I'm fit to go ahead and go on Twitter because I'm struggling. I'm fit to go do some TikTok battles because no, motherfucker, if anything, let me go ahead and own some shares in that motherfucker. Let me go ahead and take what he just gave me real quick and go flip a fucking hotel or some actual places and buildings and shit. And then it be fucking people sitting here running their mouth like, you think I'm in competition? You think I really give a fuck about tarot? It's a spiritual tool. That's why you think I give a fuck about a church, a minister, or a pastor. Bitch, you're spiritual before you're religious. And then be a religious person quick to sit there and have something to say, but be doing the dirtiest thing every fucking day. They doing the dirtiest shit. You call yourself to be talking about you a pastor, a minister, man or woman. But yeah, you making your business to step down, to disrespect spiritual because you know you must be spiritual in order to accept the fucking Holy Ghost. What is a Holy Ghost? A spirit. So you mean to tell me you denying the Holy Ghost? That means every time that you doing your ritual, Good Friday, Passover, Easter, you don't really believe what you ministering. So that's why when it comes to certain things, when you doing business and conducting yourself like shit, I ain't got no business be sitting here trying to kick it with some fucking females like, man, I'm still trying to pull it together and watching y'all hoes, y'all still miserable and stuck with a man that's cheating on you every fucking other day. That ain't the type of energy I'm trying to be in. It'd be people sitting here running around and doing shit, and it's just like, y'all ain't doing shit I ain't seen. You think I ain't seen no fucking dirty judge? Most of the time, these judges be having fucking fetishes. The females be the worst one. The motherfuckers be into dominatrix. I just want a man that I can rule. That's why you became a judge, bitch. You think we don't know what used to go on in them hotels? Most of the time, judges and shit like that, judges and big time lawyers and shit like that, you'll find them at like the casinos. You'll find them at the casinos. Most of the time, the man, you'll find them there, but most of the time, if you get like the men that are like Asian or into computers and shit like that, they into like the humiliation, the feet smelling and shit like that. You get like the Arabic men, they be liking you to pee on, like all that shit makes sense. But most of the time, if you really want to break it down, they really be having cocaine and pill habits. They be having secret habits. And most of the time, like, certain judges, if you see that like lawyers and shit like that and they real overweight, or like deputies and stuff like that, or commissioners, or they like kids. And it's just what I grew up seeing. Most of the time, where they have to funnel the money and clean the money through, they'll clean them through Chinese restaurants and nail salons or beauty bars or barbershops and beauty salons. That's where they usually got to clean the money out. And then, like, say if you see plazas where it's like a mail room, if you see mail rooms, small food restaurants, Asian restaurants, sometimes it's just any type of food restaurant, and it's a beauty supply, a check cashing, or a mail place, or certain supply places, just know it's getting money ran through it. If it's near a hotel, trust and believe me, it's an even bigger operation. They traffic in real big shit. It's either weapons, women and kids, or they doing passports, Social Security, or they running some type of major scam. Most of the time they do it, and if it's like a mailing place there or a shipping place, trust and believe me, they doing check scams, or they stealing like your mail, like stealing people's checks, credit cards and shit like that. So it's like it ain't no secret. That's why, like, everything that goes on, and like I said, up to 6 o'clock this morning, it was like, Sharita, the average person that would ever try to compare themselves to you, they wouldn't make it through this. They would not. They wouldn't. I give or take, and everything that I went through over this time, and somebody be like, I want her life. And let's say all the shit that I went through over the last 2 to 3 years, any person that probably could have been speaking bad, saying dumb shit or whatever, they wouldn't survive. They wouldn't survive it. 10 times out of 10, they're going to find themselves trying to speak up, speak out, and something like that. And depending on their lifestyle, how they live it, they won't make it. Those will be the people you see on the news where you be like, how they got shot like that? How they got beat to death like that? How they allow their kids? They said they wanted somebody else's life and live how they live, but then they don't realize how that person had to survive through that shit. And then when they getting put in that predicament, like, I don't even know why. No, remember, you want to be somebody else's, and you want to be in their life so bad and be in their shoes. You gotta realize how far a person came. Because shit, every day I gotta be like, damn, grateful. Like, I woke up today, man. Some people don't even have the basic gratitude of just saying, look, open my eyes is just enough, because somebody's struggling today to even just open their eyes, or let alone just to be able to say, like, damn, I can see the time. Somebody's struggling right now just to look at a phone and they can't even see it. Some people are struggling today and they waking up with a migraine. Their stomach fucked up because they couldn't eat, they don't know how to eat, or it's just like, shit, the liquor consumed them so fucking much that eating, they just rather drink than eat. They rather pop the pills, shoot up and shit like that. It's like, some people don't be grateful. But then it's just like, would you rather be the person just to come into people's life just to be that one piece of a little bit of fucking sunshine? Just be that one little person just to come through. So like, sometimes it's just like a motherfucker can be going through, like, I'll be a person, I'll see a bum on the street, knowing they just want a fucking beer or something. I would be the person to go buy that beer and just sit next to them and just chop it up with them. Maybe they'll be willing to go help, maybe they won't. But sometimes you don't even realize just something so simple. I ain't finna give them $1. I know they finna go get that drug. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. But who the fuck are you to judge them? Do you know what they went through? Of why they there? And instead of you sitting there judging a motherfucker, that's why you ain't making money now. I don't give a fuck. I'd rather give it to a bum than I'll give the 10% of tithing to a fucked up church. Or a shitty ass campaign that's not worth shit. I would rather give that fucking $1 or $2, $20 or whatever to get that motherfucking some liquor and just to hear they pain. But you want to know what, at the end of the fucking day, you want to know what's more priceless? Seeing them smile. And it's so many fucking people that sit here and be like, what? If you don't know what that means, then apparently you ain't living. You still dead. You dead on the inside and you dead on the outside. I'm living. I don't give a fuck how nobody feel. I don't give a fuck how hard you want to go. I don't want them to be seen. I don't want people to hear their voice. Baby, lift every voice and motherfucking sing, because bitch, heaven is ringing right now on earth. And just that one little piece of just being somebody's fucking smile. Like, I don't give a fuck, but do you feel better? And that person telling you, you know what, I ain't smiled like that in a long time. That shit feel good. That feel good. I might be living in fucking hell, but guess what? I find comfort in knowing that little piece of me just sitting down right there, and it allows me to look like, Sharita, you been here. I didn't have to beg, but I've been there. I've been there with kids. And it's like, damn, you came too fucking far. Too far for anyone. And I don't give a fuck who it is. They can keep that shit over there, but they ain't bringing that fucking smoke to you. You just grateful because shit, I woke up. I'm fucking up some days because I'm compensating for sometimes that pain will hit me. And I'm like, damn, Sharita, you eating too much. You know you got to do better. But that's the only comfort that I can get. But it's like, hey, God, can you help me like make sure that I break that? Because that's not going to keep me healthy. That's not going to keep me happy. But I'm covering up a pain within myself that I can honestly be accountable for, because I can't get mad at the doctor like, y'all didn't take care of this. No, sure, you didn't take care of that. You was causing your own pain. I know I ain't supposed to eat fucking dairy. Dairy fucks me up every fucking time, and then it can cause my body to do shit that it has no business. But it's like, Shrita, you're not able to get mad about that. But then it's like low key where I have to ask myself, Shrita, are you slowly but surely taking your own self out? I don't need nobody else to take me the fuck out. Bitch, if I want to go, I'm going to go. But then apparently it's not time for me to go. If I'm still here, I'm here for a fucking reason. It's a bigger cause, but it's like, God, what am I doing so wrong? But that was my conversation. It's like, damn. You know what corruption looked like. You know what it smelled like. You know what it talked like. You know what a real enemy will look like, even when they shake your hand and be like, you look pretty. What she say? This boy in my DM saying I'm pretty. I am pretty, but I'm pretty fucked up at the same time. And I know better to not allow the pain that I'm dealing with and working through, but I'm still standing through that shit. I'm standing through that shit. It's some people that ain't good. They're just like, I'm trying to hide it and put on a fucking facade, but they okay with that. I'm not. I'm going to call my own self out on my own bullshit before you even feel like you doing shit like, oh, what can I do to make her hurt? Bitch, it ain't shit you can do to make me hurt. I'm so accustomed to fucking pain. I'm numb to that shit. You're not doing anything new that I ain't already seen people do. All you doing is that you feeling like you fit to take somebody out, but you're upset because I'm calling you out on the bullshit that you choosing to do. For fucking what? What point you proving? You're in your feelings? If it's a man shit, you just want to wear my panties. Do you need the panty liner with it? My titties don't sit up perky because, bitch, once the bra comes off, them titties fall. Okay? So it's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's like, let's be serious realistic about the real shit about what people do. And when you choosing to do it, it's like, I want to steal from them. I want to inconvenience them. I want them to be in poverty for fucking what? I'm not even nowhere near these motherfuckers in Orlando, Orange County, Osceola. I'm not even in motherfucking Texas. I'm not in the Chi. I ain't in New York City no more. I ain't in Jersey. I ain't in Georgia. I ain't in North or South Carolina. I ain't in California. I ain't in Nevada. I ain't in Washington or Oregon. I'm not in fucking Vermont. I'm not in Massachusetts, nor Connecticut, or Wyoming, or Colorado, let alone motherfucking Kentucky or Tennessee, let alone motherfucking Indiana or Ohio. And somebody's like, God damn, let alone North and fucking Michigan, Minnesota or Milwaukee. You hear me? I'm not even in Kansas City. I don't live in Nebraska or Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, or Alabama. But it's crazy that I can name all the fucking states of where my name is getting ran through the fucking mud, but don't nobody really know what the fuck is up. I'm willing to take this chump change to take the person's life out because of what? Who was the main source to give y'all the fucking hype in your fucking brain to feel like that you're going to manipulate? Oh, my bad. She's slow. So you're slow because you just choose to fucking be quiet. But no, then I realized being more quiet, it'll allow motherfuckers to feel like they can do this fuck shit. But then when you speak up, it's like, They wasn't supposed to speak up. They wasn't supposed to air us out. That's family. Fuck that family. Some of y'all motherfuckers need to start saying fuck that family. Some of y'all really fucking do. Because sometimes it be the fucking people closest to you, family, that's doing the fucking worst shit to you. Shit, I ain't been around Patrick, Michelle, Rita, none of them. Long ass time. Let alone Carla, Kiera, Courtney. I ain't been around them motherfuckers in a long time. We don't hang together. We don't chill together. You wouldn't ever catch us in the same fucking places. Let alone, shit, I can barely sit in the fucking same room with these motherfuckers without just being annoyed at the fact because they putting on a fucking facade. But I can guarantee that they'll find every fucking body or anybody I ever hanged out with, slept with, or any fucking thing just to convince them to come do some fuck shit towards me. Oh, she's just a hater. She's just jealous. She's slow. She's crazy. It's crazy that the crazy one knows exactly what the fuck you're doing and how you're doing and who you paid. But it's also crazy how the crazy one know exactly your fucking skeletons and your sins and secrets that I can pretty much pinpoint the ones that do want to wake up or will wake up. And they start seeing like, damn, they did do that. Damn, they was like that. That's why I was like, y'all listen to Carla and Sheila and them. They was the biggest whole rat packs that you could fucking ever think of. Patrick, you think I ain't know about that? That motherfucker was a verse, how he got to get it, strip clubs, the prison reform, the music industry. That was them. Johnny had the ties to the sports industry. Michelle wanted to sneak off and geek off because she was still wanting to be with the gangs, with the Bloods and Crips and shit. Rita was just still the baby of the fucking family, but still tricking was her thing to fucking get it. Kiera, oh shit, Kiera was gonna lie, connive, and go ahead and switch up on whoever was gonna make sure she benefited and got what the fuck she wanted. And as soon as she didn't get what she wanted, she was turning on any and every fucking body. Courtney was just the slow one and still is the fucking slow one just to go along with it because it's like shit. But she was the one, diabetes, cocaine, alcohol, and stripping, and you still getting a job at a fucking hospital? That was beyond me. But then it was like I overstood, was like, damn, your daddy was like, what towards you? And it's like, oh, well, here comes Georgetta with running her fucking mouth. Oh, that's family. Georgetta, you're running your mouth to people I've never fucking met, let alone talking to. You talking about their family? They can't be family to me if I never fucking met them. But she was quick like, well, don't say nothing because Carla told me not to say nothing. Apparently, you and Carla do not know how to fucking hold water. And apparently, you telling me about Courtney's father. Courtney's father is living with constant regret that he slept with a hoe. Okay? They've been having to surround me around Jamaican or Trinidadian voodoo workers when she was going to Louisiana and shit like that. They've been doing hoodoo and voodoo since I was a fucking kid. Especially when they was in them strip clubs, and then we'll go up to fucking Virginia, we'll go to Nevada, we'll go to Hawaii, and it will be like I'll be locked up in the house. Imagine being a 3-year-old knowing that you ain't supposed to lock the door, touch the door, nothing until somebody came back in. But I would have to literally wait to be able to fucking eat until they come back. But I got what I wanted, as long as I stayed quiet for whoever their boyfriend was. And then when Sheila figured out that the boyfriend would take interest in like, oh, she's smart. Oh, she counts money. She can do this. Oh, Sharita's getting too much attention, so Sheila got to go ahead and redivert that. And depending on what type of thing it is, and she's not getting what she wanted out of those men, she'll get them locked up. Meanwhile, Patrick was over there doing his little bid with the Mexicans and shit like that, while Johnny do his bid with the Samoans and shit like that. So it's just like how the fucking game go, how the drug game go and all that shit. Y'all not doing shit that I ain't already know. How they can go ahead and get the football coaches of those prestigious universities, Duke University, LSU, Oklahoma University, Berkeley and shit like that. Them coaches and shit like that, them deans of them high schools. And don't let it be historical black colleges. Come on now. So it's like, when the shit started moving around like how it was here, and it was like Sharita something said, go look at DeSantis and go look at Rubio's. Rubio's is Cuban. And then I want to say DeSantis is something either Cuban or Puerto Rican, some shit like that. They Spanish. But then it was like, Sharita, pay attention to who they folks is and who they married to. When you start looking, I was like, these motherfuckers do that bruja shit too. So I was just like, y'all niggas know y'all supposed to do way fucking better than this. And then it's like how for me to break down how they usually utilize people when they know that you have certain gifts or talents or capabilities and you don't ever utilize them, they'll use that shit against you. And most of the time using it against you, that's either getting you locked up, just for a control aspect, because when they can control how you use that gift and stuff like that, that stuff will come back to a point where they know if they don't keep you locked up and you wake up to it, or if they can't get you to join like the secret society, Shriners, Masons, Eastern Stars, what's the name of the Hope organizations and shit like that, or they churches and stuff like that. When they can't get you to join into them, baby, they either gonna try to unalive you, beat you down, or they know for a fact that when you do decide to tap into those situations, you're gonna figure out exactly how they do their organizations. You're gonna figure out how they be stealing for some of y'all, because you ever have been, if you're a person that, regardless of what business you could be a person that do the Shark Tank. You'd be like, damn, I was thinking about doing this, and you had a plan. You probably was writing it in your notepad at home or even on your fucking phone before internet and shit was going on. You was like, I had this idea for this business, and all of a sudden, about a year or two later, the same idea that you had, but you just didn't have the funds to do it, and you see it goes up, or it was something that you was humming, a song or something like that, and you just see somebody finally just rapping on, you be like, damn, that shit resonate. It only resonate because it was some shit that you was saying, and they took it and they had the money and the ability to go ahead and put it out there. So everything ain't no fucking coincidence. I was thinking about starting that shoe line. I was thinking about starting that type of clothing line. No shit, Dick Tracy. That heard you talking about it with every fucking body else. You just didn't have the willpower to keep, to put it up, right? And then it's like, for me to mention about secret societies and organizations, how they set up PHA and the Masons and all this other stuff, the lodges, the legions, and then the alliances of royalty, Illuminati and shit like that. It's a thing. That's the other one. So if you wasn't a Freemason or something like that, you are Illuminati. Illuminati is nothing but a person who has ties to a royalty bloodline. A royalty bloodline, meaning you came from a Spanish bloodline, you came from a Viking bloodline, you came from a British, French, Arabic. What was the big dynasty? Genghis Khan, Mansa Musa, and I want to say Genghis Khan was the Asian one, the Asian dynasty dude, whatever the one that was ruling the Silk Road, him. So most of the time, those people were the main ones that was running certain shit. And then it was like secrecy where they would run to India or to Australia. And they had their own type of royalties before certain things took off. Because everybody got to remember, Mansa Musa, he was the richest person of the globe. So anyone coming of that royalty bloodline, Illuminati line, you were always going to be a threat, because out of those, they had people who, if you go to Rome, the cathedral or Vatican histories and secrets, right? Spain will have control over anyone that will have Spanish heritage. But in order for them to gain control of any one of those heritage, it will require them to denounce that they had any other ties. So Trinidad, the Spanish port, right? I think it's Spanish port something. And with that, they either Indian from India, Spanish, Spain, French of French, and then you would get African, right? And with that, you got 4 different ties of those bloodlines, Illuminati lines. If I go ahead and put them all 4 together and you think about it, the French will have to depend on the Vikings at that time when it came to war, which they didn't like, that they was like, it's sorcery, right? It wasn't no motherfucking sorcery. The motherfuckers could read a person to filth, and they knew the strategy, so they were always able to win that. When it came to the Asian people of the Asian continent, they used Chi, aka if you watch the cartoon Kung Fu Panda, right? That was a powerful source for them to go ahead and control your whole kundalini from your crown down to your feet. But it requires you to have what? Core strength, mental strength, aka what everybody like in fucking America, Bruce Lee. Who's the other one? Jackie Chan. What was the other dude's name? Yeah, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and the one that played in that movie with Aaliyah. That motherfucker been incognito for a long time. But he's another person of that source of the Chinese, Asian, Japanese culture of having a rulership over chi. So when you take these people and say, when you get a person that can actually utilize all of those, and most people that could do that were people that came out of, sometimes out of certain parts of Jamaica, certain parts of Trinidad, Haiti at times, if they were mixed in, and it depended on if they were at the very end corner of Haiti, well, not Haiti, that's the Dominican Republic, but actually the whole land of Hispaniola, which allowed them, because they had more of the African powers than anything. So the African powers of Haiti overruled, which allowed them to rule the whole island in itself, which caused the divide, because then you had the Africans that were so adamant of taking on the Spanish aspect and the French aspect of their heritage, because it was like, now you go back to slavery, where we had in America, you had your field slaves and you have your house slaves, right? So if I got control of all the field slaves, what happens to the house slaves? They feel too privileged, right? So if I take my ass over to fucking Spain, Spain's saying the wider that they are, the more I can take on to them, right? So if you actually go to Puerto Rico and well, we're Indian, we're African, and we're from Spain. Don't date the dark Spanish people, because their skin can come out dark and their hair can come out nappy. Not realizing the kids that do come out darker or with the nappier hair had more spiritual powers than those who was saying, oh, I want to practice Santeria, I still want to do Yoruba, who do the Congo, because the dance that they do, and they call it samba, or they call it everything else, but it's really called the Congo dance, meaning you're Congolese, meaning I'm taking on my Congolese era. I'm taking in my Nigerian spirit. So meaning if anyone chose to do Santeria or Yoruba right now and try to use it against any black person that could potentially still be asleep, they could conquer them. But however, they will still need to have what? Haitian and African blood in them, meaning within their bloodline. So even if they be like, oh, I'm not black, I'm this, you're denouncing in front of any black person that you're doing that work on. You're denouncing any type of like spiritual work that you're doing to them. Then the biggest worst thing that they can do, that on paper, mind you, you got to realize anything you write on paper is now a petition. So every time that you sign your name and you write your name, you're making a petition, which is now in the court of law, a legal binding what? Documentation, right? So it's no different than that to have control. So every time that they print out a birth certificate and a social security thing of the name that you came up with, right? Now, guess what? You're giving them power and authority on certain matters, unless you go back to go do paperwork to change that. I'm not going to dig into all that, but however, that shit goes into a whole deeper type of situation, which still leads to these people feeling as if, oh, we got control over this. Well, shit, in order for Spain to actually still have the control and not lose out on what it is that they're trying to achieve, right along with those people from Brazil, guess what? That will require them to actually have the unity with their African peers, but choosing not to because they want to whitewash it, because the whiter you are, the more acceptable certain things are, which is now you can watch the ritual of Spain when they're doing the burial. What are they wearing? It looked like they're wearing the Ku Klux Klan stuff. Are they or are they not? It ain't no suspicion. But then at the same time, with divination in certain people, that they know that they can get into the church congregation, whether they use it in Catholicism or in Christianity. Now I'm going to need the people from Germany, Russia, or any of those things in order to counteract that, meaning I would have to take out what? My African peers in order to do so. So in order to do this, if the crime is coming through, that requires me to get rid of any practitioner that has more African descent, meaning if they got some complexion like me, whether it's light skinned, it gets a little lighter, it gets a little darker. The darker you are, the harder they need your ass to fucking fall. And if any crime that was occurring right now, I'm telling you, the prophecy is going to be fulfilled. Anybody that was Dominican, Brazilian, Portuguese, Argentinian. Argentina can get away with it because they look white. Peru, Uruguay, Paraguay, they can get away with it. Honduras, Salvadorians, they can get away because they're covered under the Aztec and Mayan, which are the natural indigenous ones. Panama is going to be a tie. Well, it's not going to be a tie because they're going to all be considered of the African, especially if they can see that a grandma, auntie, a uncle, or like the first, I'm going to say like a second great was like my skin complexion. They ain't going to make that. Who else we got? Costa Rica. Costa Rica will have more closer ties to those of the Aztec and the Mayans. I already said Salvador and Honduras and Guatemala. In Guatemala, they will still fall under Mexico, which is their Aztec and the Mayan. So anybody dealing with Mexico ain't really just Latin. They're more Aztec and Maya. They are the most indigenous and most closest thing that you can get to outside of Blackfoots, the Sioux, what else? Comanche Indians, Apache Native Americans in the United States, outside of the Alaskans from Alaska. And then you got the ones from Samoa, Guam, Taiwan, Singapore, Thailand, and stuff like that. Those are going to be more where they can fall under either India's Indians, or they could fall under the Chinese Chi. So all of that other bullshit of how people are running it, you have to be very mindful and careful about, especially when you're taking on religion and you call yourself being a pastor or a minister, and it requires you to go through an actual particular spiritual process, which is what you see in the process when they do the Pope. It's actually supposed to be that way on all religions. So that's why most people don't respect Christianity, because how Christianity broke itself apart. Why else do you think Jews and stuff like that they're very hesitant about certain people becoming Jews? Why else do you think they're very hesitant about certain people becoming Muslims or Islamic? It's a very tedious and selective process. So now you have the people saying, I want to become a Moor, or you barely see a black Amish unless the Amish around their 18th and 21st birthday end up getting pregnant and conceiving with other races or other nationalities. You won't see any other mixing in the Amish community unless they did this around their commutes of being released between the age. They usually do it between the age of 18 to 21. And then it got to a point of 18 to 27, aka the gypsies, which were the white Italians and other stuff, other people community, to be able to do gypsy work, or seers, meaning they could sit amongst the room, and they used to not like them to be out in the public. Even during historical times, they didn't like the gypsies to be out there, because it'll be a gypsy where they call them the sirens. They'll look pretty like me and be like, I can see your future. They knew if a war was going to happen. They knew if a death, a plague, if there was cheating, if a prince or a king or somebody's royalty was threatened. Like all that shit all plays a same factor. Even when Hitler was alive, even when Stalin was alive, Gaddafi, all of that shit. All their theories is based off of that royalties usage. Shit, even Castro's. Even though that he passed away, his son take on, those are the books and the histories that he is meant to like look into. Like, I don't have to be in Cuba to know that, but then at the same time, Cuba are having to sit back and like rethink and reiterate, like, okay, What have we done in our history, and what are certain things that we have to change? And then what countries can we be able to overtake and take control? Shit, Cuba been over control over a lot of fucking people, and y'all probably think, oh, well, the Haitians do this. Well, the Haitians don't really have much control. The Africans don't come in. They just come in when it's reinforcement, whenever Cuba feels like they're losing their control, which it takes for Spain to have to go into Cuba to do a negotiation with them whenever it is meant to do a mass control. So a lot of shit that they, choose to do is certain people, it's 200 watchers worldwide. Out of the 200 watchers, there's only 13 that has the capabilities of those things that I speak of, that they can do control, read the mind. They can control, air, wind, weather. They can control and manipulate the thoughts of somebody could be doing something evil, and you can cause them to stop right before they do it. But mind reading has been the one that they've been wanting to take out for a long time. And the reason being why they want the mind readers going, because guess what? What's worse than to be in a position and someone can read your thoughts before you get ready to say, think, or feel something hateful? That'll fuck you up, because it's like, damn, I have to keep away from this person. I need to keep a full distance. Like, that person would literally have to avoid being around that person at any given time. Meaning any person that if they wanted to ordain someone, they would have to go through that mind reader to say, hey, are they worthy enough to be in this position? That's why why they used to bring those kids into the priesthood to do that. Now, before then, they would used to do certain shit to them, especially the boys that they knew would be powerful. How else to control them than to butt buck them? Because they'll be too confounded to try to think about the trauma than to think about, like, hey, this is my way, this is my path. That's why most people end up losing their way. And most of the time when people do finally get their self back in order, it'll take them to get back in order when they're like sometimes 35, at other times at the hardest about 45. And it's actually naturally meant for you to actually wake up between the time you're like 26 to 38, that you're supposed to have that full awakening to get into your full capacity of spiritual, knowing how to regulate spiritual warfare, so that if you did decide and it's within your life path to be a religious leader or, ordained and stuff, because some people are actually ordained based off their life path and when they were born, and other people, they are able to be ordained. So when you was already ordained via birth, then that was your birthright, versus being ordained and blessed to be able to take on that path. It's different aspects on how you have to take it on. So most of the time with the dysfunction of it and how you can create a matrix, a matrix divide is how the word y'all known it as. To create a matrix divide is to know what corruption is. So when you know what corruption is, you can smell it from a mile away. You'll know the behavior, the smells. I said the Smiths, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You'll know what it'll look like. You'll know who they will use. You'll know if the person is being racist. You'll know if they're using religion. And using religion and racism has been like the go-to for years. So when they use that as a force to carry on, to take away your money, they'll take away your position. Like they know they have the power to do that, which is not necessary to them. They feel like it's a power and control tactic, but it's actually more of a downfall, because guess what? They're super codependent and beyond dependent on using religion and race than anything, that they're disregarding the spiritual aspect in the spiritual ranking. Because you can be as some people say, they're nobody here on the physical 3D, but actually if you tapped into your actual your extra sensories, you can take out any person religious, you can take out a law person, you can take out a lawyer, you can take out a sheriff or a deputy. Because guess what? Picking anyone that always have to use a power and control, just know there's an insecurity hidden. So in order for them to avoid that insecurity to be doing that, they have to create what? Instability. So it's just, It's just a tactic. But most of the time, once you can already disarm them by a truth, most of the time, most people that are always concerned about having connections and organizations, it's going to always guarantee be 2 to 3 other people that knows those sins and secrets. If it's not 2 to 3, at minimum, it's one other person. So someone would know and actually have common sense and be like, hey, that is the truth. I don't want those type of problems in my life, right? So what's like I said, the main go-to is to create an instability. So if you're not insecure within yourself, guess what? The instability can cause you to do what? A mental instability. But if you're mentally and emotionally strong, and wherever the instability is, and you can already pinpoint your own insecurities, guess what? You've already conquered them, whether it's on the physical or spiritual. But once you conquer them on the spiritual, physically, you'll be able to conquer them by what? You don't have to physically touch them. You can take them out with words. You can take them out with intellect. You can take them out with their personal truth that they're trying to run from or hide from. Simple, basic psychology and math that most people tend to forget.